Good morning, it's Barbara. We're just soon going to have to open the doors because it's almost as warm outside as it is inside. And it's pretty nice. Though in the sun it feels a little hot. Good morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. We finished off the 1001 coffee that Verena gave me, and now I'm drinking 1002. This is a dark roast. Very delicious. I don't usually buy dark roast, but since I've been having cream every day, it's yummy. I just don't like it black. Okay. So, woke up today having a couple things to do, and then Dennis says, are Pete and Terry coming today? They are. They'll be here any minute. So, that was even more for me to do because, I have to straighten up the house a little bit or they won't be able to get to any surfaces. But it is amazing to me because we had the house ready for them in a half an hour, and no exaggeration, whenever earlier in our marriage, if we splurged and had a cleaning company come, we would have to spend 2 days getting the house ready, putting stuff away. I mean, and I'm talking about putting stuff away. I'm not talking about cleaning anything. I'm talking about putting stuff away. Yeah. So, yesterday was quite a knitterly day, which was a little amazing and also very nice. And I woke up this morning and I was thinking about my knitting, and it was a very calming, relaxing thought where in the past few months, quite a few months now since I've had no mojo, it's been a little stressful to think about knitting. Like it's something I have to do because, I used to have a knitting podcast back in the olden days. So most of the people who are in my community here, my blog community, are knitters, and they came here because of knitting. And while I understand that they don't expect me to be giving them a lot of their knitting content because, they're realistic and they have lots of good places to get knitting content. It still feels like, was feeling like thinking about knitting and not wanting to knit made me feel. Pearl. Pete and Terry are not here yet, but the neighbors are doing some work in their yard. So Pearl is on the alert. You never know. So I put my knitting bag over there, and now I've got to get up and get it. Because, of course, I was straightening things up, and I thought, well, let me just put this outside because I'm going to talk about it when I do my vlog. So yesterday felt like a knitterly day. I talked to you yesterday about my dilemma with the size of my sweater, and thank you for your advice. And while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in terms of the size of my sweater, I was also trying to figure out what I wanted to do in terms of the stripes of my sweater. So I went up into my room and went shopping in my stash, and my stash is amazing. My stash is amazing. I really have an amazing stuff. Did I just say that? I think I did. And so I did a little shopping, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I had talked to you about that handspun that my friend sent me, which is stunningly gorgeous. And I couldn't remember what weight it was, but she is such an amazing spinner, and it is fingering. So I wound the 687 yards or something. Yeah. Giant. And I have 4 more of those, or some ridiculous number. Oh, so generous. And I went and I tried to find some fingering things for the stripes. And I picked this, and I'm not sure that I'm happy with it. This is, I mean, I love the yarn, but I'm not sure I'm happy with it for what I decided to do. This is Toad Hollow yarn in the Free Spirit 2018 Yarn of the Month, A Year at the Museum, June, month 6, Free Spirit. I've had a lot of my yarn for a long time. I just put my glasses on, but I have my barrettes in my pins in my hair. Move it up so it won't interfere with my glasses, or my glasses won't interfere with it. These are my scissors that Verena gave me. Today's podcast is brought to you by Verena and my friend, my other friend who didn't want to be named. So, while I was trying to figure out the answer to my dilemma, I went upstairs and went shopping, and I got this yarn, which is beautiful. It's got a little bit of extra color, a little bit of purple. Anyway, so I decided that I was going to do a swatch for 2 reasons. I wanted to see how holding those 2 double would knit up, and if it looked like it would be an appropriate knit up appropriately for what I was doing. And the other was because I wanted to take advice from Valerie of A Visit with Nana and Papa, because she had a sweater that she made and loved, and it kind of got ruined because the dark color spread in the wash, leaked into the white, and she was very unhappy. So I thought, let me just see. So I did this swatch. What I did was, I even did a little slip stitch just to get the main color down deep into the cream. I soaked this for hours in soap. The first thing I did was I held the cream double to see how that would look. And then I held it double with the Toad Hollow to see how that would look. And then I thought, this is the cashmere that I was telling you about that was teal. Boy, when you put it up against this sweater, it looks pure. Out in the sun, it looks 100% blue. It doesn't look teal at all, which I find very interesting. And it's like comes apart so easily. So what I did was I held it triple, and I put a little bit of that in, but it just felt like it was too blue. Can you see that? The problem is the sun. Well, the problem is the angle of the camera. There we go. So I added that dark, and it's kind of a royal blue. In the sun, it looks royal blue. It's not, it's a lighter blue than is showing up on my screen, but it's definitely blue. Simona, I thought this was teal, but it's blue. It's blue. It's a pretty blue. In my mind, it was teal. So anyway, I added that in for a third, just to add a little color, because it's not adding substance. I hear a car, but they normally pull up where I would see them now, so I don't think they're here. I don't know what that is. So I have one strand of the cream, one strand of the Crafty Toads, and for some of it, I have one strand of this very lace weight cashmere. And so just to get the plain out of there. but I just feel like it's not quite contrasty enough or bright, or, you know, I mean, the color isn't exactly the same, but it's not different enough. I'm not sure. So I am having second thoughts about this, using this Toad Hollow color. Although, you know, it looks fine when I'm in the sun. You know, I did this yesterday at night. Well, in the house, not in the bright sun. I guess I'll think about it. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, the main color did not run in the least. So that was fine. And the two yarns held together gave me a perfectly fine stripe, and I'm happy with that. And this Corriedale is so wonderful. So I'm thinking about maybe going back and trying to find something a little more vivid than this. You would think this would be vivid enough, wouldn't you? But the teal is so dark that it looks so much bluer on my screen. It's greener than that. And so these blues, I'm not sure how that's working. Well, you tell me. What do you think? Well, it's hard to tell because it looks bluer. The teal looks bluer in this than it is. It's more green. So if the color were the same as it was on my screen, then I would say go for it. And I think I might want just something a little jazzier. I don't know. So I'm not 100% convinced exactly what I'm going to do yet in my stripes, and what I'm, you know, and the manner of the stripe, how I'm going to set them up or whatever. But that doesn't matter at the moment because I have plenty of time, because I took your advice and I took my heart's advice and I tore back my sleeves. And I went back about 4 inches up that raglan angle. I was talking to Christy last night for a little while, and I tore it back while I was talking to her and picked up the stitches again. And this yarn is very easy to pick up the stitches. It was so nice. It was just a simple thing. It wasn't frustrating. I just pulled it back, and I'm very glad I did. So I ended up saving a lot of yarn. The amount of yarn I'm going to use in this sweater now is so much less than I was going to have to use if I kept going. So I pulled it back, I picked a spot, I pulled it back, put it back on the needles, and then I counted my stitches, and I was almost exactly at the total number of stitches that I was supposed to have. You know, remember I told you when I picked it up again after several months, I mean, maybe June, what might have been the last time I worked on this, my counts were crazy big and off, and I didn't know why. So anyway, I pulled it back and I got to the counts that I was supposed to have. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing any more increases. And I knit a couple rounds. I made sure it got down to 12 inches, which is what the pattern says I should have for the size that I'm supposed to be making. And I split for the sleeves. So I already split for the sleeves last night. Well, after I hung up with Christy, I kept knitting and I split for the sleeves. This is how much I have. But I put it on my try-on cord and tried it on, and I'm going to be much happier with it. And thank you for your advice. And I realized that, you know, and so I pulled it back, and I ended up, because I pulled it back from before I added a new ball of yarn. So when I started pulling it back, I was like 4 inches. I had knit 4 inches under the sleeve, so I pulled it back. I've knit 3/4 of an inch, and I still have some from the first ball. And all the yarn that I added after that, which was inches and inches and inches, I haven't used yet. So I am saving, the point of that is I'm saving so much yarn that maybe I'll sketch out this sweater and just practice, you know, just put in some stripes and see where I think those stripes should go. Because I am totally not sure, but I know I want the top to be this. So I'm going to keep knitting on this, but I have saved myself so much knitting and so much yarn, and I do really appreciate your advice. And, you know, I know myself well enough that if it's giving me that much trouble to decide what to do, it's because I just don't want to do what I know I should do. Because it's work or something. I was a little concerned, and I still am a little concerned. Nah, I guess I'm not really concerned. That's a lie. I was concerned that I was going to mess it up when I pulled back, and it wouldn't look right. I think it's going to be fine. So anyway, so I was feeling very knitterly yesterday, and I was knitting, and I woke up this morning and I was thinking about my knitting, and it was making me happy to think about my knitting, and that was so nice. This is so much bluer than the actual sweater. So that's so much bluer, a little bit bluer. Anyway, so I'm still on the fence about my stripes. Although, to tell you the truth, the just plain cream is really lovely. It's really lovely. And I have a lot of that yarn, and it's so nice. And it was so nice to work with. So maybe I'll just do, I don't know. The other thing that came to my mind is I have a lot of minis. I could do something, you know, a little crazier. I don't know how I feel about that, though. I have to think about that for a while, but I have time because I have knitting to do. Yeah. So that's what I was knitterly yesterday. I also made dinner. I made, we call it chili paneer, but it's really mutton paneer with peppers in addition to the peas. And it came out really well. So that was good. And so I cooked dinner, and I knit and hung out with Aura. And oh, I sat outside for a little while because it was really beautiful. I think today's another sit outside day. The dogs are going to have to be out for a while Pete and Terry are here, and I'll be out here with them, so they won't be lonely. They don't have to worry about being lonely. Yeah. So anyway, that's today. I did not walk the dogs. We were expecting a delivery. Dennis got a notice. He orders wine periodically. And he got a notice that his wine wasn't delivered on Saturday because they needed a signature. So we assumed that they had come while we were walking the dog, because otherwise we were home. So he got a notification they were going to retry yesterday, and they hadn't come by walk time. So Dennis took the dogs by himself, and I stayed home to be the signature lady. And it didn't come while I was, while they were gone. But later, Dennis found it on the front porch. They just delivered it. They didn't need a signature. Well, they've been really weird about signatures, because typically I think because they're delivering alcohol, they do need a signature. But I guess it depends on the delivery driver, because Dennis has been getting these things delivered for quite some time. And so they know him, and so they just wave. Drop it off and just wave. I don't know what they do. Maybe they sign it themselves. Anyway. Apparently Saturday was a new guy, and he thought, occasionally they'll ring the bell and we'll, sign. But anyway, so I didn't take a walk yesterday, but I did do my yoga. And I've been grinding my coffee, and my arms aren't getting nearly as tired as when I started. So I'm going to upload this. Did I show you my sweater? I have to get a hanger. Soxy Nana Alice has been showing hers on a hanger, and it works great. So I'm going to have to get a hanger as part of my paraphernalia. But I've split for the sleeves. It looks short. You know, I almost wish I had done a little more. I'm a little concerned. Nah, it's fine. I was going to say I'm a little concerned that the arm is going to be tight. Not going to be tight. Not going to be tight in the least. This goes up here. But that fits. Excuse me while I try on my sweater. So anyway, now I'm at the knit stage, and the think about and make a decision about the stripe stage. And I feel really good about that, and thank you again for your advice. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I know when I'm having that much difficulty making a decision, it's because I'm fighting against doing what I know I really should do. Pretty much. Almost always. But obviously, occasionally, I'm just divided. Excuse me, my little tiny ball of yarn fell. I guess I'll wait till I'm done. I'm going anyway. Please take good care of yourself. I hope everyone had a wonderful time at Rhinebeck. Oh my gosh. And keep in mind, Saturday is our Zoom call. Saturday is Zoom. The 26th. It's my mom's birthday. Please take good care of yourselves. Please, please stay safe and stay sane.